The world is not as it seems. From the haunted corners of Ireland to China's mythical city of Satan, here are some of the most mysterious places on Earth. The Cabalists Garden. There is a beautifully tranquil garden hidden in the shadow of some medieval walls in Girona, Spain. The entrance is guarded by a serene angel, its hands closed in prayer. It's a peaceful place of rest and relaxation, especially to escape the streets clogged with tourists. But this unassuming garden is not entirely what it seems. It holds very unusual ancient secrets. It's called the Garden of the Angel, but it has some other names as well. Some call it the Cabalists Garden or the Garden of the Jews. During the Middle Ages, the city of Girona was a stronghold for Jewish Cabalists. Local legend says the practitioners of Jewish mysticism would meet in the garden under the cloak of secrecy. Here, away from the prying eyes of the inquisitors, they would practice their esoteric magic. Let's get back to the enchanting garden. Upon entering, you find yourself embraced by 10-foot walls adorned with cascading roses and brass plaques inscribed with the names of angels in Hebrew and Catalan. It's a truly exquisite and tranquil sanctuary, an unexpected escape from the hustle and bustle of the world beyond. The garden is designed across 4 levels, connected by stone staircases. Positioned against the ancient city walls, the main patio and its 3 adjacent terraces gracefully ascend, each level smaller than the one below, creating a harmonious architectural cascade. The second level blooms with a vibrant array of pomegranate trees, acanthus plants, fragrant lavender, and meticulously manicured bushes. A narrow stone staircase, partly concealed amidst lush vegetation, leads to the 3rd level. Amidst this verdant beauty stands a life-sized gilded angel, slightly weathered but retaining its grace. This 19th century statue, with its wings folded at its back and holding what appears to be a wreath, adds a touch of celestial elegance. Hauska Castle. Hauska Castle is without a doubt the most terrifying place in today's video. It's a spooky castle shrouded in myth and nightmare. Built at the top of a cliff in the countryside of Prague, isolated from the outside world, some say Hauska Castle was built to protect the world from a gateway to hell. It's been used by a mad scientist and Nazis throughout its long and turbulent history. The castle got its start in the 13th century. It was supposedly built as an administrative center for a local king, but Czech folklore says that's not really the case. The castle was actually built to seal a portal to hell that had been unleashing demonic entities on the villagers. Villagers were being kidnapped in the night by fiendish demons and dragged back into an unthinkable abyss. The villagers were so scared that they started feeding prisoners to the bottomless hole in hopes the demons would leave everyone else alone. The man who rescued the village from certain doom was King Ottokar II of Bohemia. He built the Gothic castle around 1253. To reinforce the myth of the demons, one only needs to look at the structure itself. The defenses were built facing inwards, as if to defend against something inside the castle instead of outside the castle. It clearly wasn't designed to defend against invaders. It was built to keep something trapped within its walls. King Ottokar had the portal to hell sealed with massive stone plates, then built a holy chapel above it. The chapel was dedicated to Archangel Michael, who's said to still protect the nearby villages from the forces of evil. As for the mad scientist and the Nazis, those are 2 stories that are bizarre enough even without the portal to hell underneath the castle. In 1639, a Swedish practitioner of black magic named Oronto supposedly occupied the castle. It's said that he toiled in a laboratory to create a magical elixir that would give him immortality. Villagers were terrified of the wizard, so they decided to assassinate him. In the 1940s, the castle was taken over by Nazis. Historians aren't sure why the Nazis were so obsessed with the castle. One rumor is that Heinrich Himmler, the occult-obsessed leader of the SS, was after its library. The castle library was believed to contain 13,000 manuscripts, many of them filled with esoteric secrets and ancient spells. Another rumor is that the Nazis tried to harness the power of the hellish gateway sealed underneath the castle's foundation. Mogi Chang. Mogi Chang is the demon city of China, but it's not a real city. It's a small area of 11 square miles in an inhospitable desert. Thousands of years of incredibly gusty winds have eroded the rocks to look like naturally formed castles. The landscape looks like it's covered in towers and abandoned troglodyte dwellings. Locals call it the Demon City because of the legends that speak of a hellish deity and magic oracle stones. Mogi Chang is located in China's Xinjiang province, which itself is a mysterious place of great extremes. It has one of the lowest points below sea level anywhere in the world and one of the highest. The Taklamakan Desert drops to nearly 500 feet below sea level, while the peak of K2 climbs over 24,000 feet above sea level. The province also happens to be the most distant point anywhere from an ocean on the planet. The Zhuhai-Ellison Desert is 1,645 miles from the nearest coast. Xinjiang is also a crossroads of ancient people. The famous Silk Road once passed through the territory. Armies marched to their doom through the province. People from Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Russia, India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan have all gathered here. In antiquity, Marco Polo wrote stories about the land and about the exploits of Genghis Khan. Folklore says that once upon a time, a great army was marching to battle when they entered Mogi Chang, the Demon City. The army was completely engulfed by a sandstorm. The storm was so powerful it erased all evidence of their existence from the earth. It swept them away, skin, bone, and all. There are plenty of other legends associated with the harsh desert. It's said the voice of the evil Taoist deity Yanlua Wang can be heard at night. Some explorers are lucky enough to find red carnelian stones in the sand, also called crystal of the oracle, because they supposedly hold magic properties. If you listen closely, some say you can still hear the marching feet and beating drums of the army that was swallowed here by the restless sands. And now for number 6. But first, it's shout-out time. I wanted to give a big thank you to Bilks and Ragnam Pizzadred 9037 for supporting this channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more videos about mysterious places on Earth. The Wave. Hiking the Wave in Arizona is on every adventurer's bucket list. It's such a strange and mysterious sight that its popularity has blossomed in recent years. It's now so popular that the only way you can see this miracle of nature for yourself is to schedule a permit in advance. Prior to 2021, only 20 people were allowed to see the wave every day. They've recently increased it to 64, but you still have to participate in an advanced lottery just to be allowed in. In 2018, almost 200,000 people applied. Only 4.3% were allowed on the trail. But just what makes the Wave one of the most exclusive hiking trails in the US? It's exclusive because there isn't anything else like it in the world. The Wave formed 190 million years ago during the Jurassic period, carved by wind and water. It's an undulating formation of bright colors and rolling troughs, solidified striped sandstone that looks like rocky waves cut through the rock. Hiking the Wave can be a profound experience. First, you have to trek through 3 miles of open desert without a path to follow. Only then can you experience the amazing canyons. Nobody even knew about this place until the 1990s, and now it's a huge attraction. Is hiking the Wave on your bucket list? Haunted Ireland. The first stop on today's strange tour is a haunted friary in Northern Ireland. The building dates back to the 15th century and was once home to a reclusive woman known as the Black Nun. According to legend, the Black Nun was brutally murdered in the ruins of the old abandoned friary. Bonamarge Friary was established by the Franciscan order at some point in the 1400s. Nobody knows the exact date, only that the friary was dissolved a century later in 1584. The original building was burned to the ground, not to be repaired until around 1626. It had been 2 centuries since the original foundations were laid, and once more it became a base for missionaries in County Antrim. This was one of the unluckiest friaries in history. In 1641, the whole place was abandoned. After the religious compound was left to its ruin, a reclusive woman named Julia McQuillan arrived and took the friary over as her home. She squatted there as a hermit. People started calling her the Black Nun because of the supposed magic power she possessed. She was able to see into the future and often gave prophecies. Then, on one dark and miserable day, Julia was killed. As the Black Nun sat in the upper floor window gazing out across the land, somebody pushed her to the ground below. Ever since, her spirit has refused to leave. Even in modern times, visitors have reported seeing a ghost creeping around the grounds. Her grave is just outside the church, marked by a strange stone with a hole in its center. People supposedly used to come and perform a ritual to awaken her spirit and obtain glimpses of their own future. Would you risk rousing the black nun's spirit from its rest to see forward in time? The magical Jindo Sea parting. In South Korea, the Jindo Sea parting is like a scene straight out of the Old Testament. Hundreds of thousands of locals gather at the tip of the Korean peninsula every year for an extraordinary natural event. It happens 2 or 3 times a year, but the gathering only occurs once. The Jindo Sea opens just enough to create a magical pathway stretching nearly 2 miles. The pathway allows one to walk across the sea from the island of Jindo to the island of Modo. But you better be quick because the path is only open for an hour. Although it seems like witchcraft, it's really just the result of extremely low tides and tidal harmonics. Kevin Moffitt, a geoscientist from the University of Texas, says the sea parts because of the positions of the sun and moon. The celestial objects pull the waves just right to reveal a traversable ridge of land for just 60 minutes. Vanished in the desert. 2 men disappeared in a place called the Desert in the winter of 1981. One set of human remains was found in 1993, but the mystery remains unsolved. Nobody knows what happened to Marine Sergeant Bruce Faulconer and Timothy Jewell that fateful winter in North Dakota. Marine Sergeant Bruce Faulconer was on leave when he hit the town with his friend Timothy to celebrate. Faulconer was only a few days away from transferring to Yuma, Arizona. He had just gotten a promotion, and life couldn't have been better. It was one of those moments when everything was looking up. So celebrations were in order. Faulconer and Timothy Jewell were last seen alive driving out from a bar in Bismarck late in the evening on February 20th, 1981. 5 days later, Faulconer's Chevrolet Blazer was found on the edge of the Missouri River. The car was abandoned in a mysterious area locals call the Desert. There was a massive effort to find these 2 people. The Air National Guard searched for months, but didn't find a single trace of Faulconer or his friend Jewell. You might think maybe Faulconer wanted to desert the military. Maybe he was nervous about the promotion, but that couldn't have been it. Faulconer went to celebrate the promotion. He was excited about it. When the authorities interviewed his mother, Dorothy, she said he still had paychecks at home that he needed to cash. All signs pointed to disaster. Local authorities assumed they were somewhere in the desert and that they were both dead. The desert is a huge patch of scrub brush in North Dakota, a vast area of dusty nothingness. After 5 months, both men were declared legally dead. It wasn't for another 10 years until a hunter stumbled upon a skeleton not far from where their vehicle was originally discovered. Forensic analysis confirmed the skeletal remains belonged to Timothy Jewell. There was no sign of injury. It looked like he died from natural causes. But what happened? How do 2 men venture into a wilderness and simply die? Especially when they have a vehicle right there with them. And then how are they not found for so long? It took 10 years to discover Timothy's skeleton, and Bruce Faulconer is still out there somewhere. What horrible thing lured the men out into the plain to die? The racetrack plier sailing stones. Death Valley is one of the most mysterious places in the US for many reasons. People have been telling stories about a lost city hidden underneath the desolate wasteland for decades. There's no proof of it, but that hasn't stopped the tales from being told. An earthlier mystery is that of the sailing stones at racetrack plier. Starting in the 1940s, researchers began to notice that stones moved across the flat landscape of their own volition. Racetrack plier might just be the flattest place in the world. It's like nature smoothed the whole stretch of desert out on purpose. Scientists have made all kinds of outrageous guesses to explain the stones moving by themselves. One of the most popular theories was that strong winds of over 90 miles per hour were strong enough to push the rocks across the slippery clay when it rained. But seeing as some of the rocks are 700 pounds, not everyone bought the notion. Now scientists say they've solved the mystery. A team of researchers led by Richard Norris from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography have a definitive answer. They say the enormous rocks move when thin sheets of ice form under very specific conditions. The ice forms, pushing the rocks just slightly and leaving long trails behind them. It's a process that happens at a minuscule level. It takes hundreds of years to complete, but that's now the official explanation for the sailing stones. What do you think happened to Bruce and Timothy out in the North Dakota wilderness? Let me know how brave you are in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thanks for watching, and come back soon for more mind-blowing videos.